Hi guys, Danny here, and welcome to my review of Reika's new mod, ChromatiCraft. Now, a lot of people have been asking me to make a review for this mod. However, one thing to mention is that this mod is still very much under development, and as you can see here, not even all of the textures have been added yet, so I can't really make a full review for the mod. So I'm thinking of doing something like I did with ChromatiCraft, that is releasing new videos as new features are implemented. Now, the second thing to note about ChromatiCraft is that, as you can see here with the different crystals and things like that, ChromatiCraft actually absorbs Reika's other mods, well, some of them anyways, and the mods that it absorbs have mainly been discontinued. For example, the different crystals are from Geostrata, which have been removed from Geostrata. Geostrata is still there, but you can only get the different stones now. Like I said, the crystals have been moved over to ChromatiCraft, and they are pretty much how ChromatiCraft work. They are the building blocks, and these crystal blooms are also from Geostrata. These leaves and these different saplings are from dye trees, and that has been discontinued. These are also from dye trees, and these are the new items from ChromatiCraft. As you can see here, the different tile accelerators are also in ChromatiCraft now. They used to be in some other mod that I can't remember, but I covered one of these guys in a video. That's it. Oh, we also have the Guardian Stone that used to be in Geostrata, I think. If I go over to tools, we have the different potions that used to be in Geostrata with the crystals. These are also from Geostrata, or were rather. These are new things from ChromatiCraft. Here are the crystals that came from Geostrata, dye trees. We also have items from another mod that has been discontinued. Here we go, the Liquid Ender Essence Bucket, and that is from Ender Forest, that has also been discontinued. And those three mods, or rather those three functions, have been added to ChromatiCraft, and the mods have been altered, like I mentioned. Now, ChromatiCraft was originally going to be called Rainbow Magic, which should be self-explanatory because, well, it deals with a lot of different colors. Different colors with the crystals, different colors with the trees, different colors with the potions and the shards and things like that. But it got changed into ChromatiCraft, chroma being Greek for color, and it's very fitting. Like I mentioned, a lot of different functions from other mods have been added to this one. And that is what I'm going to be covering in this video, basically the essentials, the very basics of ChromatiCraft, which just happen to be the different things from the other mods. So let me start with the different crystals. Now, these crystals are the building blocks of ChromatiCraft. As you can see while I go closer to the crystals, that they give me various effects. The three different crystals that I place down give me poison, but it's for mobs only, so I don't get affected by it. The second one gives me saturation, as you can see here, and the third one gives me night vision, as you can see here. Now, like I said, the crystals are the building blocks to ChromatiCraft, and there are a lot of different crystals, and if I hold shift you can see all the different effects, from confusing mobs to giving me resistance, jump boost, strength, weakness, water breathing. There's one that even gives XP, which is pretty awesome. Saturation, poison to mobs only, haste, speed, regeneration, which is also pretty useful, fire resistance, clears effect, that can be especially useful, and that's pretty much it. And like I mentioned, you can get them in all dimensions except the end, and you can also find them in greater quantity in the Twilight Forest. Now, another thing to mention is that when you find the crystals in the Nether, they give the opposite effect. So as you can see here, the Kuro Cave crystal gives you withering effect in the Nether. This crystal gives you direct damage instead of resistance, jump disability instead of jump boost in the Nether. It gives strength to mobs instead of strength to you, blindness to you, weakness, hunger. It takes XP instead of giving them to you. Night vision, but to mobs only, regeneration to mobs, so it's pretty bad if you find them in the Nether, so try to avoid them in the Nether. When you find the crystals, you can mine them up like so, but when you break the crystals, you don't get the crystals by themselves, you get these different shards. Now, as you can see there, these shards can be used to make potions, which I'll talk about in a second. But I'm just gonna mine all these different crystals, and you can see I have them in my hotbar. And you can also see that the different crystals give different amount of shards. But if you want the crystals by themselves, what you can do is you can get a pick with Silk Touch, and you can harvest them in their crystal form with the Silk Touch pick. Now, like I mentioned, the crystal shards are used for everything. For example, I'll show you the different recipes. All these blocks require the different shards. And you can also use the shards directly to make these lamps. Now, the lamps, unlike the crystals themselves, don't give you any buffs. However, you can change the option in the configs, as you can see there, to make them actually give you the various buffs or debuffs if you want. However, you can actually make the different crystals that will give you the effects. For example, these are just the lamps, they don't give you any effect, but if I get these three, okay, so 1, 2, and 3, you can see that I got the effects. So resistance, let's see, black, red, and green. So, oops, not that one. Confuses mobs, resistance, and poison mobs. You might also notice that the different effects are actually stronger with these guys. So as you can see there, the Citrino, which is the yellow one, gives effect to range 12, effect level 3. However, if I show you this one, it's only effect range 3 and effect level 1, so it's 3 times as better. However, these guys are quite a hassle to make, as you can see here. They do require a lot of different things, and they do require that you make different structures required in ChromatiCraft, which I'll talk about in another video. However, these guys are worth it because they do give you pretty good buffs. So, for example, this one here, and not that one. I want to get the one that gives XP. There you go. So if I put that one there, that one there, as you can see there, I have experience 3. And if you go to survival, okay, you can see that my experience bar is slowly being filled up, which is pretty cool. That is a pretty strong experience gain. Okay, you can see there. So it's an incredibly handy thing to have. What you can also do with the crystals is make these pendants, which, as you can see here, require the casting table and the different structure and the Silk Touch cave crystal. So this is mid-level, so not something you can have at the start, and if you just have it in your inventory, they will give you the appropriate buffs on the go. So as you can see here, because I have the Galazio crystal pendant, it gives me speed, and if I go over to Galazio, there you go, its effect is speed, so pretty handy if you want buffs on the go. You can also get the enhanced version of the pendants, as you can see here. Because I have the Citrino crystal pendant, I have haste 1. However, if I get one of these enhanced crystals, you can see that it goes up to haste 3. But if I show you the recipe, you'll see that I require one of the potion crystals, so it is pretty expensive, and diamonds as well, and a gas tier. So it is still pretty strong, but it would definitely be mid to high tier, so around endgame. And you can also have more than one of these pendants to get more than one of these effects. Another thing you can do with the shards is make potions, as you can see there. It tells you that it gives ordinary potions, so what you can do is come over to this special machine here, the Crystal Brewery, which you can see here. It doesn't have a texture at the moment, but you just throw the shard in like that. You can see that it starts to brew, and if you give it a couple of seconds, you will see what it makes. Okay, so the crystal has brewed the different potions, and you can see that I get 3 resistant potions, so it's pretty awesome. You can also make these different seeds with the shards, as you can see here. It's a pretty simple recipe, and you make it on the casting table, which itself has a pretty simple recipe that requires the shard. So the casting table is required to make some of the items in ChromatiCraft, just like that, and it looks just like the crafting table. So then you just place the different items there, and you get the different seeds. Now, what do the seeds do? Well, you can plant them to get the different crystal blooms, and it's pretty simple. For example, if I just break that, right click on the dirt, and you can see it bloom there. Give it enough time and it will have these crystals on top. Now what you can do with the crystals is, let me go to survival, is right click and they have a chance to drop the seeds. Okay, there you go. And what you can do with the seeds is that you can just plant it back down. At the moment they don't have a use yet. Whoops, that's another function from ChromatiCraft. I can't hit the middle button in creative. So right click and you'll just spawn it on the ground. So if you just give it some time, the crystal will spawn on top again. And you can just right click to get the crystal seeds. Again, I can't get it because there's a random chance. At the moment it mentions that there is actually no use for the crystal blooms except for the fact that they give out a lot of light, as you can see there. Looks incredibly pretty, and they also give the seed. However, in the configs it mentions that there is actually a small chance that they will actually drop the shards, and it must be a really small chance because I have been planting and breaking these guys for a while now. I did it in survival obviously, and I didn't get any shards, so well, there you go. You do have a small chance of getting the crystals, but only a very small one. And that is all of the different basics regarding the different crystals. And moving on to the saplings. Now you'll find these rainbow color trees scattered everywhere around the world. You'll find them in all different kinds of biomes, and they will drop these saplings. You can plant the saplings, get the trees, and the trees will have different kinds of wood randomly chosen. And well, there you can also find the trees in a special biome. I think it's called the rainbow biome. And you'll find a lot of those trees bunched together. And the special biome has a better chance of spawning neutral mobs and a very small chance, or rather no chance at all, of spawning the hostile mobs. Now as you can see, while I'm randomly planting the trees, that the different trees can have any kind of wood. So this one has oak, this one has the silver wood, this one has spruce, and you can see the different shapes as well, and the different sizes it comes in. So, okay, last one now. Okay, this one has great wood, so you can see it randomly chooses one kind of wood and just has that kind of wood. And if I fly up and break some of these guys, I don't know if I'll get it in creative, so let me go to survival. Okay. So if I break these, they have a small chance of giving me the dye color or the sapling, and depending on the kind of tree, they will also act like that kind of tree. So the one with the oak will give me apples randomly. Okay, I think I already got a black dye, and I think I also got some of the berries, which I don't think have a use yet. Well, they can't be eaten yet, so okay. Okay, I'll give up after that. So let me go down, and you can see I've collected some dye, some saplings, and some chroma berries. In the special rainbow biome, you can also find one of these guys, a rainbow tree, and the rainbow tree is pretty crazy because it has a chance of giving you any kind of dye, and the leaves are really fun to play with. I'll show you that in a second. So if I just look for the rainbow sapling, now unlike the normal dye color trees, if you plant just one, it won't grow. That's because it requires 4. But there you go. Just like all of the different trees, it has a random chance of picking any of the different kind of wood. So this one has oak, and you can see the leaf there. Now, a really cool thing with the leaf, this is not something that I have to mention, but I want to mention because it's really cool. You can see the leaves changing color in my hand. Now, when I put it down like so, you might think that those two have the same color. Oops, come on, don't break just there. But if I place a lot of them, you'll notice that the leaves actually change color gradient at a time. So if you look there, you can see if you have a lot of it, it'll eventually go from one side of the spectrum to the other. So you can see the effect on the tree itself, and it looks so pretty. Well, that has already given away the secret of the tree, but it's basically that the rainbow tree can give any of the dyes. So let me go into survival. Okay, I'm in survival now, and let me just break some of these leaves, and you can see that it has a chance of dropping any of the dyes. How awesome is this tree? There you go. I'm going to give up after that, but basically you can see that it has a chance of dropping any of the dice, so that's pretty awesome. So yeah, the rainbow tree. You can also find one of these flowers that just give you extra ways of making dice. So if I hit that, you can see that you can basically make the different dies from the different flowers. So it's pretty handy. Like I mentioned, ChromatiCraft has also absorbed Ender Forest, so you might randomly find a biome with these liquid Ender essence on the ground, pools of them basically, and the biome will also have a higher chance of spawning Endermen. But on top of that, actually I already have that there, but let me get the other thing, which is the Resonant Ender from Thermal Expansion. Basically, if you step on this, you will be randomly thrown across in a random direction. However, if you have Thermal Expansion installed, instead of this liquid, you will have the Resonant Ender. We also have the Guardian Stone that allows you to protect your land. Say, for example, you're on a multiplayer server. If you have the Guardian Stone down, people won't be able to interfere with the blocks that you place, and they won't be able to break any of your blocks or place down blocks. So it's basically an anti-griefing item. So you just place it down and you just do /guardstone, add remove, and then the player's name, and they will be able to or won't be able to add or remove blocks accordingly. So if I remove myself like that, there you go. So now I'm in the permission list of myself, which doesn't make any sense, but like I said, it's a multiplayer thing, and in single player it doesn't really have any use. Next we have the tile accelerator, which is very simple to explain. Basically it accelerates the rate a tile works, a tile entity. So if I just have that there, this goes at an insane speed, but that is just because that tile accelerator is a pretty high one. So you can see different ones here. There's ones that double the speed to the one that I was just using there, which multiplies it by 256. And yes, actually this is incredibly balanced. As you can see, you require a ridiculous number of items, and even the items themselves are pretty end level. So yeah, incredibly balanced. And on top of that, each of the higher tier accelerator requires the previous one. So to make the into 4, you need the into 2. To make the into 256, you require the into 128. So it's pretty damn balanced. So that is it for the basics of ChromatiCraft. I will be releasing a video on the more advanced stuff soon enough. So yeah, the link will be in the description. If you like the video, please leave a like, and as always, thanks for watching. Oh, and one last thing, if you guys have any suggestions on mods that you want me to cover, instead of just telling me on the comments of my videos, if you could send me a message or post something on my Facebook page, which I'll also link in the description, it'll be pretty handy, because I tend to forget or I tend to oversee some of your mod suggestions, and some of the mods that people suggest are pretty cool. So I would like to cover everything. So yeah, like I said, if you could just send me a message on my Facebook or just leave something on my wall, that'd be really great. And so yeah, thanks again.